Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show, episode 105 today. It's April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. I'm your host, Kellen. With me, Tim. Tim, say hi.
Hey guys, how's it going? Tim here.
So we're back after a couple of week break where we've been quite busy, actually. We ran through, we each posted our Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge reviews. So those are out. If you haven't read those yet, they're up, they're long. We kind of dive into what are probably, I mean, it's going to be tough. We said this last year with the S6, but it's going to be tough for people to sort of dethrone those as the best smartphones of the year. But it's a long year. And last year, we got some really, really good phones at the end of the year. So we did that. We've got the LG G5 in-house, and we've been covering that like crazy. And we'll have a review up of that shortly. But we've got new HTC 10 news and Verizon adding new fees onto things and lots of stuff to talk about. So we definitely want to catch up and make sure you guys know what's going on. So first of all, it is April Fool's Day, so we don't have an elaborate hoax planned or anything. I think we seem to do one every other year kind of thing. We actually talked about doing one about Verizon adding a fee on for software updates. We were going to say it was like a $3.99 fee, and we had like insider information on it, and we decided to get against it, or I just kind of decided not to do it. But it's probably good that we didn't, because we found out about another fee that's real that they're actually introducing here in about a month and a half. So two things. It's kind of crazy, right? Verizon and their fees. So the news, we'll get into their upgrade fee in a second, but the new news, which we actually just posted like 5 minutes ago on the site, it has to do with unlimited data and Verizon adding or raising prices by $20. So it's kind of confusing, and we were hoping to get some extra clarification from Verizon, but they haven't done that at least yet anyway. So essentially what's going on is back in November, on November 15th, actually, they kicked off this new, it's apparently a three-phase, according to the information we've seen, it's a three-phase sort of project to raise prices on unlimited data. So phase one was November 15th, which a lot of you guys got hit with. And that was a $20 increase on your unlimited data. So your unlimited data plan went from $29.99 to $49.99. And that happened when you were out of contract. So starting May 15th, phase two kicks in. And so phase two is a $20 increase on, and I'll just read the exact quote here. Okay, so it's increasing the price of other data features with unlimited allowances for lines that are out of contract, if that makes sense. So as far as we know, that's for hotspots, because if you have an unlimited data plan, you could have an unlimited hotspot, which is $30. It sounds like they're raising that another $20. And then the other thing could be potentially on really even older legacy unlimited plans that weren't affected the first time around. So again, this is all sort of confusing, and again, we can't get official clarification on every single person that's doing it. All you need to do is contact Verizon. And I hate to tell people to call Verizon, because I don't like their lines just getting overwhelmed with people checking on stuff. But if you go on their chat, even, you can talk to somebody. I just did it an hour or so ago, checked with somebody, and they are already up to speed on it. Their service reps are, and they'll tell you if you're affected this time around or if you were last time around. So like my unlimited line, which for whatever reason I'm still hanging on to, I'm not getting like an additional $20 charge. I got hit with $20 in November 15th, and now I'm fine. This is for people that weren't hit back then. So if that makes sort of sense. Anyways, to get that clarified on whether or not you are getting another charge, just contact Verizon. They should do it. But keep in mind, there's a phase three coming, and we don't know when. They have a TBD on that. So I don't know what phase three is, if it's an increase for everyone or what's going on. But there is a phase three on the way. So that's breaking news sort of just across the wire, actually. Yeah, unlimited stuff. There is another fee, though, which came out yesterday. Oh, and this is not an April Fool's joke, by the way. We've talked with multiple sources about this and Verizon, so it is happening. But yesterday, we also caught wind of an upgrade fee that Verizon is kicking off on April 4th, so Monday. And that upgrade fee is for off-contract or device payment phone purchases, and it's $20. So we have actually kind of had some fun with this, because it seems a little ridiculous, but keep in mind that Verizon's not the only one doing this. AT&T does it, Sprint does it. But it's a $20 fee when you buy a phone. And if you walk in and buy a phone off contract, Verizon is slapping essentially an extra $20 fee onto your bill to cover that. I mean, I don't really know what to say about this. So we put together our 20 of our favorite responses from readers when they reacted to it, and some of them are pretty hilarious. But the way around it is essentially just don't go buy phones at Verizon stores. Like buy them at Best Buy or buy them on eBay or somewhere else, and then you avoid the $20 fee. I guess I haven't bought a phone at AT&T unlocked and been charged. I think there's this $15. And Sprint is apparently 30, according to Verizon. It's just crazy. So I don't know. That's the other thing that's going on. Verizon is tacking on quite a few fees these days. I mean, like, explain this to me. How do you? So you're getting charged. So you have to pay, basically. So you're like, oh, I want to buy this phone, and somebody put it great in our comments. Who said, and Verizon said, we'll say to you, okay, well, that's $20. And they're like, oh, this $700 phone's only $20. And like, no, you pay us $20 and then you can pay us another $700 for the phone.
It makes me really happy that I've been able to buy phones just outright, not have to deal with contracts. I'm on a prepaid plan. Like, I just don't have to deal with any of this stuff. Yeah, I don't have unlimited data, but I don't need that. So it makes me very happy that I'm a fortunate person who doesn't need to deal with these companies and the fees and all this crap. It's really the system is rigged to screw people, I think, and people really don't have anything they can do about it because they rely on these cell phones and they need them for work or they need them for their lives. And
well, a lot of people need Verizon, right? Because Verizon in their neck of the woods has coverage.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Just crazy though. I mean, think about this. You have active service at Verizon, right? So you have an active SIM card. And if you have a semi-new phone, it's probably a nano SIM. So you buy a new phone and all you need to do is turn your old phone off, take the SIM out, put it in the new phone and turn it on and it works because it's all automated, right? And Verizon thinks that's worth $20.
It might be, maybe it's just something we took for granted. Maybe for something that awesome, we should have to pay. I mean, makes sense, right? If it's cool, that means we should be paying for it.
It's just insane. I mean, you're already paying, right? Crazy bloated prices on these phones over what they're worth. We saw it. I think the best example is with the Nexus 6. So we went from like 2 or 3 years of Nexus phones that were pretty reasonably priced. You could call them cheap even. The original Nexus 5 was like $300. And then we get to the Nexus 6 and all of a sudden it's $650, $700. But it also is one of the first times Google pushed that phone out to every single carrier, right? And then that was a failure. And so they've dropped back, right? And the 6P, which is about as high end as it gets, started at $500. It wasn't anywhere near $700. And there's no carriers involved. And so Google can charge, lower price. So it's like these carriers set these prices, right? So not only are they setting these ridiculously massive prices, they're then going to charge you an extra fee just for the right to buy that phone.
The FCC and the BBB and all of these companies that are here to protect consumers should definitely look into this.
I mean, it seems like somebody should have started about 6change.org petitions.
Yes, thank you. WhiteHouse.gov petition. Let's get Obama on the case.
Let's get him on there.
Yeah.
But again, this isn't Verizon. They're not the only one doing this, right? AT&T for sure does a $15 fee on this. And Verizon says that Sprint does a $30 one, though I couldn't find it. I actually went on Sprint's site and just typed in upgrade fee in their support site. And Sprint's website is worse than their network. Like, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything in there.
Man, that burned.
And so apparently it's 30. So Verizon's, kind of right in the middle there. They weren't quite Sprint level, but they're just above AT&T. They're obviously getting all the headlines because they're doing it right now. But we're talking about a fee for buying a phone without a contract. I get it. If you're on a month-to-month device payment plan, I could sort of see that, right? There's financial issues involved there. They probably have to get you approved, and it's a different sort of ballgame. But at full retail price, come on. Walking in with $650 and you want 670. Like, that's just stupid.
I think got to make some money somehow.
I guess so. So that happens on Monday. That one's quick. The unlimited thing's coming in a month and a half, potentially longer, depending on what your contract or your billing cycle, and if you're in or out of contract, things like that. This device thing is Monday.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like Verizon are buying these phones from the manufacturer at full cost at retail. I mean, come on, they're definitely getting.
How much do you think they're paying? Like when Verizon buys a batch of Galaxy S7s from Samsung, like what's the per device there?
Well, I mean, I would have no idea, but I would assume
Like
they get some type of
$400?
yeah, maybe 350. I mean, because we know the cost of making these phones is always usually around 200 some odd bucks, and that's just guesstimation. But there were those posts. I think it was like last year when the Galaxy S6 came out, and people were breaking it down component by component, seeing how much these phones cost to build. It's like around 200 some odd bucks, and so now they're being retailed at 600 plus. So Verizon, I would think, is probably buying them for around 300 to 400 bucks.
Probably something like that.
But they're buying thousands.
That's
thousands.
one of those things I wish we actually could find out is how much Verizon pay, like Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, they pay for those from them. We'll probably never know, but
no. Serious lack of transparency when it comes to that type of stuff.
oh yes. Here's the official quote though about this new device upgrade fee. The upgrade fee helps cover our increased support costs associated with customers switching devices. Customers can pay the charge when they upgrade, bill it to their account, or trade in an old device to offset the cost. The fee for upgrading on device payment is still half of the 2-year contract. So they're spending it. So when you buy a phone on contract, they charge you $40. It's a $40 like upgrade activation fee, which is also insane. But now they're spinning this saying, look, it's half of that. Like that's not like a selling point. The other thing is the increased support costs associated with customers switching devices. So all of these carriers for the last probably 2 years, when device payment plans became a big thing, right, in the last like 2 years, maybe 2.5. And the whole point of them is they were like, we want you to upgrade now. We want new phones, trade in all your phones, all this stuff. So what that reads to me as increased support costs associated with customers switching devices is we begged you and begged you and begged you to swap out your phones. And now we're realizing it's really expensive to either refurb these or clean them up and get them out of here or sell them off. Maybe the third-party refurb market is like flooded with crap and no one can sell phones. And so they're not making as much money off of these trade-ins. I have no idea, but that's what it sounds like. Like they were begging everyone to trade in their phones and upgrade all the time. And now they're like, well, there's not that much money to be made there. So we got to make up for it with a $20 fee. Just bad news. We don't like fees, especially when they kind of seem like we could probably avoid them.
Every fee can be avoided. I mean, $3 convenience fees to purchase movie tickets online. I mean, what the hell is this world coming to?
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right, so that's news out of Verizon. 2 new fees to expect for some of you. And actually, the unlimited people, it is actually a fee they should expect. Because if you're on unlimited at this point, that means you've been buying phones, on month to month or retail. And so you're going to have to pay this extra $20. It's almost like the unlimited fee indirectly. It's like the indirect unlimited like penalty fee. Like if you're still on unlimited and you're keeping it, we're just going to slap you with another $20 every time you buy a phone just because. All right. So today is technically LG G5 day. So the LG G5 is available. You can buy it now. It's in every single store, all the big carriers. I'm sure Best Buy probably has it too, although they haven't been hyping it like they did the S7s. So we have a couple in the house. Pink one, silver one. Pink one, I showed this in my video the other day. There's like this little SE next to it. Like it's almost like G5 special edition. I have no idea what that means, but this is the pre-production unit I've been testing for a couple of weeks.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then this one doesn't have the SE, and this is a T-Mobile variant in silver. It's kind of dirty. So, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit on the last show, but I've spent now a couple of weeks off and on with it. I say off and on because I had to wrap up my S7 review, and the pre-production unit I just didn't want to spend a ton of time with, because I didn't want to form these deep opinions on a pre-production unit and then get a retail unit and have everything be changed kind of thing. So
You're saying your full review will not be based on your opinions on a pre-production model?
my God. Not to like talk about other publications, but we've seen at least like 3 or 4. I think they came out last week and or earlier this week, and they were based off the pre-production units. And like, that's garbage. You can't review a pre-production phone and type review and post that as like your official word on the G5. You just can't do that's not fair to anyone. It's not fair to your readers, and it sure as hell isn't fair to LG. Not only that, but like, we talked to LG with ours and they were like, hey, you can't post a review. And we said, yeah, that makes sense. We won't do that. I can imagine they told all these other dumbasses too, but whatever. Other sites can do whatever they want to do.
Yes, they can.
So no, the review will not be of the pre-production unit. But we do have a retail unit now in-house, and I've put the S7 aside, as much as that pains me to do. And we will be full-time G5, and I'm hoping to have a review up actually like mid next week. I want to spend some time with the camera. Is a little iffy at the moment, and I want to put that through some real testing.
What about the battery? Have you noticed any major differences between the SE model you have and the production?
So far, so let's look. So yesterday was my first like full real charge on this retail unit, and I wasn't disappointed in battery life. So let's see, I was in about 13 hours of use. I had 2.5 hours of screen on time, and I was down to 13% left. And that's mostly LTE with some Wi-Fi. I mean, that's not bad for me. I'm typically between 1.5 to 2.5. So I was 2.5 and I still had 13% left after 13 hours of use. I mean, I know a lot of people will say that that's terrible, but for me, that's pretty average in a day.
For us, that's good.
Yeah, for me, that's pretty average. It's got quick charge. It's got quick charge 3.0 in it, so you can charge it really fast. Doesn't have wireless charging, but it charges fast, and that's pretty decent battery life. I'm working on it today. I've been trying to use it as much as I can. Let me tell you what I'm at right now. The 56% left. I'm on battery for, well, it says 12 hours and 28 minutes, but that's not correct because it's just been unplugged since last night. Yeah, it has like 37% idle time, but I've already got over an hour screen on time. Still got 50% left. It's 2 o'clock. Like, that's not bad. Overall, though, the phone is the phone's nice. We were kind of talking before the show, and it just doesn't feel great. It feels like it's a really good phone, and overall, I think I'm pretty positive on the G5. But what Samsung just did with the S7, it's hard to sort of match that. And I think you have to sort of understand that LG tried to do something totally new this year, right? Like, we went from G3 to G4 and they were pretty similar phones. They changed the design up a little bit, but mostly the same. Like, this is their first take on a metal phone. It's got the modular slide out thing. They put a dual camera. Like, it's almost like they're trying to change up sort of their design language in a way, and change up some features and move their focus. So I also don't necessarily expect this phone to be the best phone ever made by any means. Next year with the G6, when they sort of refine this, and hopefully it doesn't look like this, it'll probably be really, really amazing. We'll probably have more modules, assuming they are invested in this module thing. And so the G6 will probably be great. This phone is good. It's just not great. And so I think for me, when we talk about phones and recommending them, because that's sort of what people come to us for, even though we try to avoid just straight up recommending stuff, like, it would be hard for me to tell someone to go buy this phone over the S7. Because the S7, you have two choices. One has a bigger battery and bigger display. The other is a little more compact. And like, I get that this has a removable battery. And so if you are the type of person that in the middle of the day, you need to swap a battery, like, this is your choice. It's your only choice. But if that's not one of your needs, I don't really know why you would choose this over the S7. Like, they both have kind of crappy skins, but Samsung's is better, slightly better. But the S7 is like, it's water resistant, and it has wireless charging, and it has a better camera. So, and it, personal opinion, but it looks better than this. So this does have better always on display though. That's a bonus. I think my biggest issue though right now is, like I said, the camera. And again, I need to fully test these, but the camera quality doesn't really seem to be amazing. I showed you a couple of pictures. The regular shooter, which is 16 megapixel, it takes shots with it and they're just not really crisp and sharp. Like I remember last year, the 60 megapixel shooters in the S6s, like they took amazing pictures, like just amazing detail and all this stuff. With this, the regular 60 megapixel camera, not great. And then when you flip out to the super wide angle lens, you could take some really cool shots because of the wide angle. And when you take them, you're like, this is going to be a really cool shot. And then when you look at the picture, they just look really muddy and noisy. And I'm just not really that excited yet. I hope like they can, fine tune that with some software, but I don't think that's going to happen right now. The other thing, and I sort of broke one of the rules we try to stand by, which is use the phone as the manufacturer intended, and that's the launcher. So there's no app drawer in the stock launcher on this. And even though LG showed off a video this week that showed they're going to have an app drawer, it's not on here yet. It's going to have to come in an update. So I tried to set this phone up, and when you restore a phone, you're like hundreds of apps all get reinstalled, right? And they're just spammed across like 6 pages. And I was so overwhelmed because there's no easy way to organize any of it. Like it's the worst launcher I've ever used in my life. I switched. I went off it. I had to go to Google Now Launcher just for something simple. So apologies if you guys really wanted me to give out LG's launcher a try. I did on the prototype or the pre-production unit, and I can't with this one. I just can't do it. So I don't know. LG G5, it's out today. I don't think it's the best phone on the market. I haven't fully reviewed it yet. I just don't think it's better than the S7 or S7 Edge. So, but we'll have a review soon. That doesn't mean I don't like it or I think it's a bad phone. That just means I don't think it's as good as those other two. It's pretty much what I'm saying here. I have to like clarify those types of statements because everyone just then assumes I'm paid by Samsung and hate LG.
You're a shill, absolutely.
Yeah. Which is like not the thing at all. The LG G5 is fine. Like if you buy the LG G5, you'll probably like it. Like you'll probably be like, this is a good phone. But if you had the Galaxy S7, you would go, this is a better phone. I think every single person would probably say that. Anyway. All right. So speaking of S7, should we talk about our reviews?
Absolutely.
All right. So our S7 and S7 Edge reviews are out. You want to go first? I've been talking way too much already today.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And S7 Edge is actually the phone I think most people are excited about anyway over the regular ones though.
Yeah, they're already in the chat saying Kellen just S-wording all over the G5. But no, that's not what he's doing. Come on.
Trying not to.
Yeah, S7. I mean, I came away pretty much to the verdict was really good phone. Last year, the S6 Edge, the Edge display, the features that came with it didn't really intrigue me all that well. I found myself turning them off within a week or two of having the phone. However, on the S7 Edge panel has been reworked completely. It's actually usable. It's not just people edge. There's app shortcuts, shortcuts to shortcuts inside of an app. It's shortception. And there's a sports ticker, but it's a way better ticker than what you got last year on the S6 Edge, where it was literally a ticker. This one is actually full graphics and stuff like that, and CNN headlines, even though why the hell would you want to read those?
Okay, so do you actually use any of them regularly?
I actually just turned off Edge panel last night because I really want to try and figure out what's up with my battery life, because everyone was calling me a fool in the comment section of my review because I said I put battery somewhere in the middle, because for me it's not all that good, it's not all that bad.
For a 3600 milliamp hour battery, which is huge.
I was just getting a day. I was only using LTE, no Wi-Fi for the week I was using the phone during that testing period. I have one of T-Mobile's LTE freaking mobile towers in my home, literally. So I have full bars of T-Mobile wherever I go in my home. So I know I have good service.
You have one of those T-Mobile extender things?
It's not an extender. It's like one of the
Wi-Fi thing or whatever it is.
It's their actual 4G towers. You hook it up to your broadband internet and it sends out the T-Mobile 4G LTE signal.
Okay.
They call it a mobile tower. I call them idiots. Like it's not a tower. But So it's as big as a modem. It's actually bigger than a modem. It's right next to my desk. Anyway, so I don't know what was up with the battery. I was getting a full day. I mean, a full day is fine for me because I plug my phone in at night anyway. I don't need my phone to last 2 days. But beyond that, camera, insane. Display, insane. Build quality, just the overall look, design, the silver, insane. There's not much on the phone that's not insane. I actually really like every aspect of it. I love the size. Yeah, the fingerprint reader is good, although, you know, home buttons I'm still not the biggest fan of, but I can usually get past that stuff. I mean, I do like on-screen buttons more, but home button, it's not a deal breaker for me. Other than that, nothing really wrong with the phone. Although the external speaker, I think was the only thing I listed as like the bad or like the not so good. External speaker is pretty weak. I mean, it's just so tiny, you can't expect any really decent sound to come from it. So, you know, whenever I'm listening to a video that maybe wasn't mixed properly or is just a little too quiet, I always have to cup my hand around it so the sound will bounce off of my palm and towards my face. I talk about stupid, but other than that, I love this phone. The S7 Edge is great. I have been sort of switching back and forth now that the review is over. I have the 6P, depending on what I'm doing that day. You know, if I want to show off a little bit, I'll bring out the silver S7 Edge. People tend to get a kick out of that. And if I really just want that stock Android love, then break out the 6P. But now I'm working on the Robin. And so far, I couldn't have had a worse experience with the cell phone. This thing, it's so slow, people. It's got the Snapdragon 808, 3 gigs of RAM. And I feel like it is extremely underclocked. So it's running I want to touch on this because while it is running a pretty slimmed down version of Android, it's running a skin. They call it the Next Bit OS, which, you know, it integrates their whole cloud storage service. So there's something with this phone that makes it extremely jankified. Well, I don't know if it's the skin or maybe it's just the Snapdragon 808 in general, but it's extremely slow and almost unbearable to use. So I don't know what the deal is.
Probably just because of what you're dealing with, like the other phone. Like, you know, the 6P is fast and the S7 is super fast. And
That's
so when
possible.
you go to an 808, maybe, I don't know.
I would hope that wouldn't be the case, though. You know, I mean, even going through home screens, it just feels stuttery. And this thing doesn't have an app drawer either. So it's a big app jukebox is what you like to call them. So that's what it seems like. I don't know. I only got into my my full usage of it this morning, actually. So we'll see. Maybe it just has to warm up for a bit. You got to work it in. Who knows? I don't know. But so far, it's been pretty depressing, especially coming from an S7 Edge or 6P. I mean, if you really kind of go down that far, I'll try not to like hold that against it. Tim is S-ing all over the Robin. Yes. But I guess I just expected better. Although Nextbit did announce that they have a big software update coming to improve performance, improve camera performance, improve a lot of things in the second half of April. So the phone just launched. Hey, but we know the software is so bad, we're going to send out a huge update in April to fix any problems you're having. It's a good sign. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully that fixes some of the problems, but I'm not going to wait then to post a review. Actually, you know, honestly, I don't know if I'll be able to get to a review.
We got some other bigger, more important phones in the grand scheme of things. Then.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the phone is sort of yesterday's news, right? It launched right with the S7 and S7 Edge, basically. So it's kind of hard to find time.
Yeah. All right. So S7 Edge. I mean, so you're jumping between 6P and S7 Edge a little bit. If you had to choose one today.
If I had to choose one, oh man, that's a really tough question. If I had to choose one, just from the time that I've spent with all of them now, oh man, for the performance and the software, I would go 6P. But to fit in my pocket way better and to look cooler, I'd go S7 Edge. So that's a really good question, man.
That's tough.
I love.
I mean, I don't even know how I could answer that because like the 6P, you obviously get I would say the best software experience. I should say the software experience we tend to prefer. Maybe some people might really like what Samsung's doing, and the camera on the 6P is still, I think one of the best. Like the camera on that phone is great. Low light, wherever, HDR, it's awesome. And then yeah, you have the dual speakers and all that stuff. And it still looks nice. I mean, the 6P, like I'm starting to miss it a little bit. The only thing I don't miss is the size. Like this thing is huge.
It's a little big. I guess one thing I will criticize the S7 Edge for is that I like Google's apps. I don't like Samsung's apps. So, for example, I have 2 calendar apps. I have 2 calculator apps. I have 2 dialer apps, I think. I just have I have a doubling of all the apps that I want from Google. And yeah, Samsung's apps do integrate with the Google account. But they don't do it for me. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way they feel. So I just keep using Google apps, and I actually hide those secondary icons inside of Nova, which is great. But maybe a lot of people don't know how to do that, or blah, blah, blah. But
so you're using Nova on the Edge. I mean, you have to. Like Samsung's TouchWiz, the launcher
you have to.
sucks.
So I got a theme on the S7 Edge to make it more material looking. I'm running Nova. I mean, I'm really trying to make this thing as untouchwized as I can.
Yeah.
That's
once you do that, it makes it even better. Like it's already a good phone. Like we reviewed it with all of Samsung's crap. And then, yeah, when you start taking a chance to customize it, it gets that much better. It's one of those phones that actually gets instantly better.
I totally agree.
The moment you do that. Yeah, so S7 for me. So my situation's a little different, right? Because I reviewed the gold Timo version. And then I ordered the Exynos silver version, which doesn't even say Galaxy S7 on it. And I want just to go back to this phone because I don't know what it is. Exynos version, battery life, it's just amazing. So we were talking about battery life and everyone like complained that you are getting bad battery life there. I didn't have great battery life on my S7 from T-Mobile, which is running Snapdragon 820. Also, I had pretty bad battery. Well, not bad, just not great. This Exynos thing, like 4 hours screen on time for me, which is like a record for me, right? 4 hours screen on time. I still got like 10% left at the end of the night. It's crazy. I've never had a phone last through that kind of heavy use like this phone. And it's silver, right? And it's just awesome. So yeah. So it's been tough to like put this down because there's few times in a year where you get like we obviously review lots of phones. There's few times in a year where you get a phone to review and you can just tell that that's kind of the phone you would probably use for a really long time. And this is one of those phones. And now I'm reviewing I don't know how many other phones in a row. So I don't even know when I'm going to get back to this little guy. It's kind of sad. But we're on the G5 now anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, S7, it's just they're really Samsung did a really like it's one of those things where last year they had the S6 and S6 Edge and Edge Plus and whatever, and they were fine, and there was this really nice new design style and everything, but they had their issues, namely with battery life and no waterproofing or water resistance. And then this year they kind of did the iPhone version of 6 to 6S thing, except they like really, really improved all the things that were wrong and created 2 phones that they're really damn good. They're really damn good. The only thing that sucks though about this international version, no Samsung Pay.
That is sort of a downer, and for you especially because you actually have a bank that supports it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it really sucks. And I think it's just because they're international units, and Samsung must be flagging them by model number or IMEI or something, because it obviously could work. They just won't let it work. Like when you open up the Samsung Pay app, you sideload it, it just like you get this like weird callback error thing where it's clearly trying to talk to a server and it just goes, no, you're not on the list, buddy. So that sucks. I wish they would. I think once it launches in the UK, I bet I'll get access, but until then, and we don't know. Everyone keeps saying it's coming to the UK, and every month it goes by and we still don't get it. So yeah. All right. So yeah, our S7 reviews, Edge reviews are done. So feel free to go review those. We've done who knows how much stuff about 5 reasons to buy them versus the G5, tips, tricks. It's all out there. So if you want to know anything about the S7 or S7 Edge, we pretty much covered it at this point. So in upcoming phone news, HTC 10, we're getting closer. So I think since we've last done a show, HTC has announced that April 12th, they will be unveiling their new phone. They're not calling it the HTC 10 yet. We are all just still calling that, but it says 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 in every single teaser. So we're pretty sure it's going to be called HTC 10, not HTC One M10 and all that. But April 12th, they're going to do an online press conference at 8 a.m. Eastern. So 5 a.m. Pacific people. If you want to watch HTC stuff, you got to get up really early. And yeah, they're going to announce it online and then probably get some time with the phone or something someday. We're not really sure. So that's happening. Since then, also, they've had a couple of their teasers come out, one that mentions Boomsound. And then they also said it'll have the fastest and smoothest Android. So I don't know if that
Stock
means
Android.
stock. Probably just means really light on the sense, right? I mean, how do you
Well, it's kind of like what they did with the 1A9. I mean, it's pretty much Android, just a very toned down version of Sense running on top.
I don't think I ever used a 1A9, not even for a second. It's one of those weird, I usually try to get my hands on every sort of major phone that comes out. I don't know if we'd call that one major, but I've never touched that phone. Yeah. So I don't even know what Sense was like then. I haven't touched an HTC phone since the 1M9.
Wow.
Which is not a good phone. That's not a last experience you want to have of a company.
Not a good last impression.
No, it's not. But yeah, so fastest, smoothest Android, Boomsound. So we all think there's going to be just a single speaker on this phone, right? But their teaser shows a speaker grill up top and then the bottom grill. So do you think it's going to have dual speakers? And it's just going to be one firing out the bottom, one firing out the top where the earpiece is?
Totally
is that what you made of that picture? Somebody mentioned that in our comments. I was like, don't expect dual Boomsound speakers. And somebody's like, dude, look at the picture. It's a speaker grill and for the head or for the earpiece grill and then the bottom speaker grill.
It's sort of a toss-up for me. Anytime I want to say HTC is going to do the right thing, they tend to do the wrong thing. So I'm expecting it's going to have Boomsound software. So you stick in headphones and boom, the bass will be heavier. I get the feeling that it's not going to have actual external Boomsound speakers. But we'll see. I mean, hey, if they want to make a phone that sells, maybe they should listen to the customers and put in dual stereo speakers.
I mean, that's what our comments all say. Like, dude, can't you see it? It's two speakers right there.
Can't you see it?
Yeah. The other thing is, Boomsound obviously is going to be in the software. So it's kind of sad, actually. Boomsound in the HTC One M7 was actually in reference to the speakers, and then there was an audio sort of enhancement inside that was powered by Beats, because that was when they were still with Beats. And then since then, it's changed. And now Boomsound doesn't mean speakers. It just means the crappy software enhancement they've added. It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might get two speakers. That's what everyone says. And I'm sort of just starting to fall in line with that hype right there.
That would be great. I mean, yeah, that would be great. That's what we want, right? So
yeah, two speakers always better than one.
Totally.
Let's see. So we do have some new pictures and we got a benchmark. What do we have for the latest in specs from that benchmark?
According to GFX Bench, which is the latest kind of look we've got at what the specs might be for the phone, 5.1-inch QHD display, 2560 by 1440. So it is the first time HTC, I'm pretty sure, has ventured into the Quad HD realm arena against LG and Samsung. So that's kind of a big deal. And it's only 5.1 inches. It's not that big. Same size as the Galaxy S7. Yeah. Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor, the latest and greatest. Same thing you'll find in the S7 G5. 4 gigs of RAM. Same thing you'll find in the Galaxy S7, S7 Edge. 32 gigs of onboard storage. 11 megapixel rear-facing camera with a max resolution of 4,000 by 3,000. 4K shooting capability on that rear-facing camera.
And we're sure that's probably just a 12 megapixel shooter, just reporting weird or something, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Why it would be 11 megapixel, I don't know. I mean, it also the benchmark also said it had like 3.8 gigs of RAM, but we know it's always rounded up. So, and then it had 28 gigs of onboard storage. Come on, people, it's 32 gig.
Right.
So, and that it would launch with, or at least the time of the benchmark, it was running Android 6.0.1. So not Android 10 or anything silly like that. But the one thing that is still unknown is battery size. We don't know if it's going to be IP68 water resistant or anything, although it's probably not going to be. If it was, HTC would probably already be hyping that up. Like, oh, the Galaxy S7 can do that. Well, so can ours. Well, they aren't saying that, so we highly doubt it. Don't know about battery. Other than that, I mean, really on paper, just from the looks of it, from what we have so far, it's identical to a Galaxy S7, well, with the exception of nothing really. Same processor, display. I mean, the display will be very different. They will not be using a Super AMOLED display like
tend
you
to
plan
use
on the S7.
LCDs, right? Yeah.
Right. So if it is an LCD, you can expect lower saturation, maybe better contrast. But other than that, there's not too many differences. So we shall see. April 12th is the date. Yeah, so that's coming up, right? I mean, that's like 11 days from now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up that it's identical in terms of specs to the S7, because it really then just comes down to design and probably software. So
they both have home buttons.
I mean, they have the same sort of button setup, although HTC has theirs in the right places, the back and app switcher. I mean, if you're looking, it's hard to do this because the only photos we've seen are leaked renders and then probably either prototype or pre-production units floating around. So but when you choose between those two, you choose them based on then probably their looks and software. And you look at the HTC 10, would you choose that over the S7?
Hell no.
Right?
No, dude. The bezels, like the phone is so bezeled out. I guess I would want to kind of get a feel for it. Like I need to feel how the bezels are in the hand. There's got to be a reason they're doing that design on the rear. But also, I don't like HTC's implementation of the capacitive buttons along with the home button. Like I get it, Samsung does that too, but I think the way HTC is doing it is even uglier and even more terrible. So we'll see. I mean, dude, HTC went to on-screen buttons with the MA and N9, and we praised them for it. Now they're taking a step in the other direction and saying, nope, we're going back to capacitive. That's the way to do it.
With the A9, they had the fingerprint home button, but they had on-screen buttons, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's this part of me that's holding out hope that you can switch it like OnePlus does with the OnePlus 2. You can have the fingerprint home button, but then you can tell it to use on-screen instead of the capacitive, and those just go dark and don't light up because, otherwise it's just, you're right. For whatever reason, their button setup does look worse than like Samsung's. Samsung's you can barely see, though, which maybe is partly why.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're blended in there so well. Like when the lights are not on, you can't even see the buttons. So while Samsung has gotten their capacitive buttons down to a science, HTC has not.
They can't figure out what the hell they're doing.
No, they can't. It'd be great to see them work in some type of like something we saw on OnePlus, switching between on-screen and capacitive, but I doubt it. That's just one more thing they have to worry about consumers getting confused about.
We haven't seen any proof that will happen. Every single picture we've seen, it doesn't show on-screen buttons anywhere.
Anywhere. It's always capacitive, and they're always lit up like they always have been on HTC phones. The little tiny arrow and a little tiny square.
Little box. Yeah. It's one of those, where if you like HTC's design, you probably like this phone. I don't know that it's like the design is so not new and fresh that I don't know how, like you get a whole bunch of new people to like the only difference between this and the One M8's design, because the One M9 was just atrocious. The only difference between this and the One M8 is they took away the secondary shooter and they added a double chamfer. Otherwise, it looks like the same phone, right? And the front with the weird button setup, it's not like that pretty of a phone. It might be in person. Again, I shouldn't be too critical because it's not really fair to a phone that's not even out yet. But
going on what we've seen already, it's a valid concern.
It is. And I'm sort of excited for this phone because it looks like HTC is doing a lot of the right things with it. But um, yeah, no, you totally just screwed it up when you compared its specs to the S7. Because yeah, when you compare the two, you just we'll see what the camera's like. Maybe the camera will be awesome. Maybe in hand, this thing will feel amazing.
It's totally possible. Even the M9, as not good of a phone as it was, I mean, it feels pretty good in hand. It's not like the worst phone ever.
It's pretty close.
It just looks pretty terrible. I mean,
it was so bad. I just remember holding that thing and on the back, because remember everyone complained about the M7 and M8 being too slippery because the metal.
Right.
So HTC put this coating on the M9, and it's like this tacky, looks really cheap on top of the metal. It's bad.
I don't know what they were
That is
doing.
one of the worst phones I've ever used, the M9. I think I read my review of it the other day and was just like, wow, Kellen, don't hold back, buddy.
Calm down.
It was brutal. Yeah. This phone, I think, will review probably quite a bit better than the M9. At least they changed some things.
Yeah, well, everyone left, right? Their whole design team is gone. So we shall see. So yeah.
So yeah, I'm back.
I didn't even notice you were gone.
Oh, you didn't notice I was gone?
For a second I did, and I was sort of sitting here and and just nowhere land.
It like the browser just died. I don't think it was Flash dying. It just all of a sudden Chrome just went and it said reload, and so I clicked reload, and now I'm back.
Well, at least it reloaded. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody.
So yeah, so the HTC 10, April 12th. That's only a week and a half away, and then we'll really know everything that HTC's done. Hopefully, they worked on some things. I think that was one of the things with the 1M9. We asked them, "What the hell did you do for the last year? You released the same phone with a worse design, a worse camera, and bad battery life. You didn't fix any of the stuff we complained about. What did you guys do?" So yeah, they had some turnover in there, I think.
Well, exactly. That's what I was saying. Their whole design team is gone now. So
Yes.
and Scott's over at freaking Robin, using leftover M9 shells to make the
Seriously, it is too. Yeah. Well, they should probably think about a new design language altogether. I mean, if this phone, and I hate to say this, but I don't have any feeling that the HTC 10 is going to be this massive success. I just, from what we've seen right now, I don't know how it could be unless you charge $200 for it, right? Like if you charge $200 for a phone that's this high end, you could potentially sell a lot. But they can't do that, right? HTC doesn't have enough money to do that.
They cannot do that.
So it's going to be expensive. It's going to be normal, and they're not going to have a marketing budget because they spend every penny they have right now on the Vive, right? Like all they do is spend money on Vive. I made some joke the other day about they're a VR company who makes phones on the side now, because that's kind of what it feels like. So if this phone fails, do you think HTC finally just throws it all away and actually starts over? Because it's starting to feel like they should have done that last year with the 1M9, and that this phone just kind of looks like another one of those all metal one phones. It's probably time to maybe do something different. I mean, even Samsung did something different, last year. So. All right. Well, anyway, April 12th, we'll know. We'll know a lot more then. Let's see. In other news, the Google Wallet card is officially dead. It will die on June 30th. It will just stop working. And by May 1st, is it May 1st? May 1st, you can no longer add cash to it. I believe it's May 1st. Yes. So you can add money to it for the next month, and then you can't add any more money to it. And then you can use the card up until June 30th, and then it just dies. So if you're using the physical Google Wallet card, your days are limited. Have you ever used the physical Google Wallet card?
Yeah, back in the day, I actually did when I had some money. Like when I first got it, threw some money in there and use it from time to time. I actually used it like whenever I would go into like a bodega or shady gas station that I didn't trust too much with my actual debit card. I just use the old Google Wallet card. And plus, if I was at like a drive-through or something, I would hand them the Google Wallet card, and they'd be like, "Google, Google Wallet card. Because they almost think you're some sort of big shot, right? Because it's got Google on the card. They must think you're some executive for Google. Definitely not the case, but I thought it was fun to use, throw around every now and then.
I used to use it for one purpose. At Christmas or birthdays, when people would send me just like Visa gift cards or whatever, or you get a Visa gift card for redeeming something, and they always have really weird balances because you spend like $20 the first time, and then there's like $22.95 left on it, and it's always hard to find something to buy that. I used to just load them because there was a time where they let you use credit cards to load cash onto your Google Wallet account, and so I used to do that. I would just take all those and throw them on there, and then I had a single card that I could use. But they cut that out, I think, over a year ago, and I've pretty much never used it since.
Poor Google Wallet card.
Yeah, kind of sad. But since they're killing it, they're offering a couple of different options. They're pushing people into American Express Serve, which we as a company, Droid Life, do use from time to time, and it's not bad at all. And then Simple, also the bank. And if you sign up there, you get bonuses or something, $20 or something.
Yeah, if you just go ahead and sign up for Simple, you get $20 free. I mean, $3 is always cool. And Simple is great. I use Simple as like my main bank, and because they're based right here in Portland, Oregon. And I absolutely love them. They have fantastic customer service. No branches. The only problem is like you can't write a check. So if you need to send out a check, you have to do it online, and it takes a couple of days to like go out into the mail and get sent. But other than that, I love Simple. That's great. I have nothing but good things to say about Simple.
Except that they are not on Samsung Pay.
Yeah, well, they told me they're working on it. But they gave me no timeline.
Samsung, every time Samsung announces new banks, I look for Simple just for you, and it's never there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, let's see. We're expecting a Galaxy S7 Active, which should not shock anyone, right? Galaxy S7 Active.
Yeah, and it's going to be AT&T exclusive. Don't let that shock you either.
It's really hard to get excited about it because it's going to be an AT&T exclusive. Like I reviewed the S6 Active last year. I think it's the first Active phone we've reviewed, isn't it? I don't know that we did the S4, S5 Active, but
right, you're right.
It was a nice phone. It's not necessarily my taste in phones or style. That rugged, all physical button thing. I thought it was actually pretty damn ugly. But last year it had a big old battery, lasted a long time, and it had all the internals of the regular S6. It was a nice phone if you need a tough phone like that. Right. So S7 Active, we're expecting the same. Tough phone, probably big battery, all the good internals. It'll be a nice phone if somebody needs an active phone. But yeah, it's AT&T exclusive, and no one will be able to buy it. It's kind of sad.
Extremely weak. I still don't know why they do that stuff, but I mean, it can't possibly sell that well. Like, I definitely get like there's a crowd of people who need a phone that can handle that type of beating, but I mean, so it can't sell like crazy.
I can't imagine you sell that many of them.
Yeah, it doesn't sell out like hotcakes.
No, it can't. I don't think there's any trouble getting those at AT&T, even though they're exclusive.
Yeah,
I think people are lining up for AT&T exclusives.
Yeah, I heard like people were lining up for the HTC First, like way back in the day. Like 2 people lined up, and they were tweens.
Oh, the HTC First. I just remember when the HTC First came out, and it was such a disaster that people were saying that the HTC Cha-Cha outsold
more. Yep. I mean, a phone with like a Facebook button on it.
Yeah.
And sold more than actual Facebook phone.
Wasn't it basically like a BlackBerry knockoff with a Facebook button or something like that?
Exactly
Cha-Cha.
what it was.
And it sold more than the HTC First. Yeah, that's right. You went to the HTC First event, right?
I was there. I was there. I was hanging out with Zuck. We hung out. We had beers. I'm just kidding. But I saw Zuck. I had to stand about 10 feet away from him, though. And he had many handlers who would not let me through. They could tell I probably wasn't supposed to be there. But it was they didn't even let us get hands-on time with the device. I looked at the post that I wrote for that because someone actually put it in the comment section not that long ago. They were like, "Don't you remember the First?" And I was like, "Oh my God, the First!" So I looked at the video, and it's actually me filming, but then a Facebook employee doing the hands-on, because then I remembered they didn't let us touch the phone. at all because they didn't want us to go into the software of it and to really like kind of dig around or anything like that, even though it was really just like a Facebook, it was like the home launcher or whatever.
It was a really basic launcher that you couldn't do anything on.
You couldn't do anything on, and they did not want us to know that. So I didn't even get to touch the phone while I was there.
That's right. Because they launched it with that really bad home that eventually was available to just every phone if they want to. And then the chat heads, and then I thought there was a third app. It was basically a suite of apps that they had installed on a stock Android phone.
It was a lock screen, the launcher, and the chat heads. And the chat heads were the greatest thing to ever come away from that announcement.
I still love chat heads.
I love chat heads. I use them every day.
Yeah, I mean, I uninstall Facebook, but I keep Facebook Messenger. Yeah, and every once in a while I see it pop up and go, oh yeah, chat heads. I wish Hangouts had chat heads.
Yes, dude. Seriously.
If Hangouts had chat heads, it would be the greatest steal invention ever.
Well, it probably will in Android N, right? That's what we're thinking. Some chat head like stuff.
I would love some chat heads in Android N.
Who won it?
All right, let's see. So in other brief news, there was kind of some drama with Netflix and Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile a week or so ago. So John Legere came out and announced like additions to Binge On, and YouTube was joining the party, and YouTube wasn't really celebrating the announcement. They basically said, now that we got T-Mobile and John Legere to finally change this stuff because they were being really sneaky about it, we'll join. And during the announcement, Legere recorded this video where he was talking about how awesome Binge On is and whatever, and how, you know, people complain about the 480p video, which is DVD quality. And he said, but did you know that Verizon and AT&T only show you 360p Netflix? And everyone went, what? What are you talking about? No one had heard that before, right? And I think we all just thought he was BSing and either making something up or potentially knew something that just no one else knew. And it turns out he just knew something that no one else knew. And Netflix came out like a week or so, like after Verizon and AT&T threw these huge fits and said, no, we're not doing that. Netflix kind of just like, it was like they were hiding, like, hey guys, yeah, we're doing the throttling actually, not Verizon and AT&T. And so Netflix has been throttling Verizon and AT&T streams to 360p without anyone's knowledge, which is kind of crazy. So basically they said they were doing it because Verizon and AT&T have non-friendly data plans, basically, in that
calling them out.
Yeah, and so they said because your data plans suck so bad, we were protecting our customers from themselves. And so they were throttling because they didn't want their people to get screwed over by Verizon, AT&T for overages, basically is what it came down to. And they said, we're not doing this to Sprint and T-Mobile, though, because they basically have unlimited plans.
I mean, show of hands of people who actually even noticed that they were watching.
They're probably watching on Wi-Fi and probably had no idea.
Exactly. I don't, people should be smarter by this point, or at least, you know, we don't even know that people were actually watching any streams in 360 because everyone should know, yeah, I'm on a capped data plan. I should probably be on Wi-Fi while I'm attempting to use Netflix or an extremely data-heavy app. It just seems odd. I don't really see it as big of a deal. I mean, 360 sucks. At least make it 480 or something. But it sucks that the company says, oh, we need to protect the users from themselves. But at the same time, I don't even see it as
but sometimes people just need to learn and not be dumb.
Yeah, I don't see it as too big of a deal, although it is funny to watch Verizon and AT&T squirm a little bit. But
my God, it was so funny. They're so
defensive.
AT&T came out and said, we are outraged to learn that Netflix has been throttling us. Like, they were legitimately pissed, and I kind of don't blame them. Verizon just said something. What did Verizon say? They just said, we're just streaming it at whatever the service provider streams it as. Like, they just said, like, it's not our fault.
It's whatever. I mean, they have so many problems to already deal with.
Yeah.
AT&T thought that they were like standing up for the rights of their own, right? So very odd.
Or they're just outraged at all the missed opportunities to charge people for overages.
Yep, that's why they're outraged.
Yeah, that's why they're outraged. So yeah, pretty funny though that Legere just tossed that out there and to watch all the people go, what? We're not doing that. we're AT&T and Verizon. We don't do that. And he actually responded to some of them and said, I didn't say you guys were throttling. So it's like he knew the whole time and he wasn't ready. He wasn't able or allowed or something to say. And then Netflix all sheepishly, hey, we're doing it. It's pretty funny. Who knows if that's changed? I think they said they're going to come out with a tool later on that allows people to decide.
Yeah, a data saver tool. Because we need more data saving tools.
Right. But for now, you're just getting throttled if you're watching on a mobile connection on AT&T and Verizon.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. So just real quickly, Apple announced the iPhone SE a week or so ago, and it's basically the iPhone 5 with updated internals. So you can pay with Apple Pay, and it has the new camera and better fingerprint reader. And but it's still in the same shell, and it looks exactly the same, basically, to an iPhone 5. So we actually asked people if they could bring back, if we could bring back a high-end Android phone that was around the 4-inch mark, what would it be, or would you even want one? What was your thought? Like, is a 4-inch phone even interest you at this point? Like, do you want to see the Droid Incredible or the 1X come back with new internals?
No, not those phones. I mean, and just to like poke at Apple a little bit, I mean, Apple reminds me so much of Hollywood these days, completely out of any original idea. I mean, just sort of stretching deep, trying to like just pull something that'll like catch on. And then there's these publications that are saying like, oh, the little iPhone SE is a big deal. Like, come on, a little phone is not a big deal. It's a tiny iPhone. It's an upgraded iPhone
remake.
5.
Exactly. It's a remake.
It's a remake. It's hardly innovative. And it's Apple just really out of ideas, I think. Although, I mean, I'm sure the iPhone 7 will be something new that we haven't seen before, even though we've seen every iPhone design ever. What else could they do? Make it thinner, so they have to make battery cases that actually give you a usable battery size or something. I just don't get it. So Apple just doing Apple. No, I would not want a 4-inch phone. I can actually understand where people are coming from who say that they want a smaller phone. Like, I get it. My girlfriend doesn't need like a 6-inch Android phone or anything like that. So, but at the same time, with all the content out there these days, I think at least a 5. You gotta have at least 5 inches.
We just do so much more on our phones these days. That
we're playing apps, watching movies, doing Instagram. Like, okay, scrolling through Instagram on a 4-inch phone just does not seem enjoyable whatsoever. Having to squint, and I don't even know the
joke about iPhone people, because you could tell they had an iPhone because they were like this all the time, because their phone has to be this close to see on their tiny screen. Yeah. And that's apparently coming back. That's making a comeback. Yeah, I think I mean, I'm with you. Apple's out of ideas, and this is a way to quickly make some bucks, because look, we know they're a company that makes money, but all they have ever cared about is how they can just stretch those margins. They're charging $400 for this thing. You know how much more phone you can get for $400 if you're on Android?
A whole lot more.
It is crazy. I just don't know why. I mean, I used the Xperia Z5 Compact for a little while. My wife's still using one right now, and she hates it. She kind of likes the size, but it's a terrible phone. I just used it and couldn't use it anymore because it's too small. And I never thought I'd say that I like littler phones. And that's a 4.5 inch, I think. It's too damn small. Like, I was the Apple guy. I was squinting as I looked at it, and just no fun. Yeah, I don't really need a 4-inch phone to make a comeback. I don't need a remake of the HTC One X or the Droid Incredible or the Droid X. I don't need those to come back. I like newer phones that are,
Our old buddy Ron Afringa, I don't know if anyone remembers him. Nice guy. He's actually just on Twitter about 10 minutes ago and posted the following: played around with the iPhone SE. Felt chunky, sharp, and small. No shit, man. 4-inch phone.
That is deep, Ron.
Yeah. So small phone feels small, but he's coming. I don't even know what he's using right now. I think he's using 5 or
he's
6.
got a 6S, I think.
Yeah. So if anything, I mean, especially coming from the 6S, going all the way down to an iPhone 5 SE, definitely gonna feel a bit weird in hand. So kudos to you, Apple. They can make anything and people will buy it. They are
seriously make anything. They remade it. The best thing was when they were announcing it, they were standing on stage going, it's like 3 times faster than the 5S. That's a 3-year-old phone. It better be. Like all their comparisons were to the 3-year-old phone. It's like 10 times faster, 10 times better GPU performance. Of course. What?
That hurts. That's so hurtful.
So great. I love their stuff. I think I saw somebody try to interview my boy Phil Schiller. They're like, well, what do you think's so great? And he was like, it's all great. Like everything Phil says. It's just magnificent. It's so incredible. Just shut up, Phil.
Magical.
Yeah, everything is magical and amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, so we clearly don't. We're ready for the 4-inch phone to be reinvented again.
Okay, yeah, I mean, remake an OG Droid. That might be kind of cool.
I don't even want that to happen. I played with the Priv and it sucks. I do not need a physical keyboard.
Yeah.
All right. Got anything else? We don't have any apps or games, do we?
No, I haven't been. I've only been playing Alto's Adventure. Although, if you do have a NVIDIA Shield Android TV, highly recommend you pick up Super Mega Baseball. If you like baseball, that is. If you don't like baseball, please stay away. Don't touch it. But if you do like baseball, I love some baseball, and it's actually a lot like a Wii game you would play, except it's way more comprehensive. Like, I mean, we're talking tons of baseball stats, and you can change everything and customize, and it's actually a ton of fun. My girlfriend and I have been playing it almost every night. It's a lot of fun because it's got co-op multiplayer. It's a total blast. Something you and the kids can do.
It looks pretty sweet, actually. Tempted to get it.
Except it's $20. So
steep.
Yeah, steep. So maybe we'll have to hit up NVIDIA, get a few codes, and we'll try and hook some people up with some free Super Mega Baseball.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, if nothing else, final reminder: it's April 1st today. So while everything we said is true, can't say that for the rest of your life, for the rest of the day.
Right.
Yeah. So expect LG G5 review next week. HTC 10 within a week and a half after that. There's lots of stuff going on. Somebody's calling me as I'm like trying to wrap the show. It's just rude.
Come on, Mom.
Calls me. And I don't even know who it is.
Block 'em.
So rude. So it's like dinging in my ear as I'm trying to focus on wrapping up the show. So rude. All right. Anyways, this has been Droid Life Show episode 105. We will check you guys next week. Peace.